السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل مع وليد. طبعا اليوم الأربعاء، يوم نيوكاسل مع وليد وديف، الشيخ ديف من نيوكاسل. مرحبا فيك ديف.
Right. Everybody all right?
We are so right. Our eyes here and other eyes in the Liverpool with Villarreal. Hopefully they will be very tired. Dave, a lot to discuss tonight. Let's start with this famous, as I have by myself some question regarding the magazine. Is that first time women team have a magazine and play in St. James Park?
Yeah, obviously it's the very first time the women's team have played at St. James's Park. Certainly in their current setup. But I think it's great that they're going to be playing at St. James's. Under 18s, it says for free, and the adults are £3. So it's a fantastic, and it's the first time they've had their own program as well. So it's brilliant that the women's football team is actually growing in popularity.
They must be very excited.
I think they're very excited, because they're getting the chance to play at St. James's Park. Beforehand, they've had several different names. They used to be called the Newcastle. They were called the Kestrels at one time, a long time ago, and they just weren't linked with a football team. They weren't linked with a football club. The previous owners didn't want a women's football team, and then they went off to Durham, and I think they went off to play in Durham, and they set up a new team in Durham, and then then obviously Sunderland had a very successful team, and I think it's only in the latter years where there's been a lot more emphasis put onto the women's football game, and I think it's good that we've got a very good women's team, and hopefully they'll go on to better things themselves, because Mia, Dad and Amanda are putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of backing behind the women's football team. So who knows, the women's football team might be up there challenging teams like Arsenal and Man City in the next few seasons. Who have Arsenal, Man City and Chelsea have got really, really good women's football teams, and they have a lot of players from around the world playing for them. So hopefully Newcastle will be exactly the same before long.
If they promoted this season, the women club, where are they going to be? In first league, or
if they will be? At the minute, they're in the first. They're in the championship version of the women's football.
Championship.
Yeah, it's not called a championship, but it's that's what it is. It's the championship for women's football. Whereas the the women's have got a team. There.
Yeah, I read. It's called Division 1 Women League.
Yeah, but the women's Premiership is like for the elite players. But a few years ago, there was a lot of money put into the women's football, but they were very, very choosy in who they actually who was allowed in to play. It was very, very elitist. Only certain clubs were allowed to play there, and they broke away so they could actually be more women's football on the television. But it's now all coming together again. So I think we've got a good chance of getting. They've got a good chance if results go their way, getting promoted. I don't think they will. I think their run came too late. But maybe it's next season they'll be favourites for promotion next season.
Are they gonna get some signing?
Yeah, apparently so. There's the same sort of emphasis being put on.
And not just a magazine, a signing for them as well.
Yeah. I would think so. I don't know if there's any big name players who want to come and play for the Newcastle women's team, because they've got a lot of good players themselves. They might not need any Any big
No,
signings?
maybe one sign, two sign maximum tops, just to get
To get them over the line. Yeah, you're right.
Serious, brilliant. All the luck for Newcastle women, as also Newcastle for men in Liverpool game. Last question regarding this topic: is gonna be aired? No.
Is it going to be on TV? No.
Yeah.
It might be on NUFC TV.
I see.
But there's no plans for it to be shown anywhere else. But like I say, it may be on NUFC TV if you're a member and you can subscribe to NUFC TV. You might be able to pick it up that way. But I'm sure the highlights will be shown on YouTube, possibly the same day or a day later, because that's what they tend to do. They tend to show the games a day later on NUFC TV.
Dave, we speak before in Saudi Tone Show about board members and CEO, etc., in Newcastle. So we noticed that will be a new member in the board, Mr. Majid Al Sarur. So I want to ask you, any talks in Newcastle regarding this matter? Who will be any update? Been talking about any update?
Nothing at the moment. I mean, there's hardly any news coming through from the football club. Mind you, today when I came past the training ground today, there was a lot of press people at the training ground today, and I couldn't see anything as to what was going on. But there was quite a couple of photographers there and stuff like that. So there must have been something going on, but I haven't heard anything. I've heard no news to regard that.
And it wasn't usual and unusual.
No, it's normally it's very quiet, but there was a lot of people outside the training, certainly by the main gate where I took you to, and there was a lot of people there, and there was like I said, there was a couple of journalists with cameras and photographers. But
there wasn't anything in the media, right? Nothing been published.
No,
maybe
nothing. Nothing's been published. No. So
hopefully, we'll see. We'll know that soon. Okay. What else we have? There is a topic actually. I read it today, and let's talk about the payment, parachute payment. I have a little info about it, but as I want to mention Arabic first before we talk in English. طبعا مقالة اليوم تتكلم عن موضوع الدفع المادي للأندية في الدوري الإنجليزي، وكيف أنه لازم ندفع مبالغ مالية والدعم يوصل للدرجات الدنيا، الشامبيونشيب والدرجات اللي تحت. لأنه الحين النظام الجديد المستدام ورط الأندية، خصوصا الأندية اللي ما عندها مصادر دخل. As I understand the new rules of fair play, maybe it's affect somehow the teams, especially in the AFL or Championship or League One, get more affected regarding this matter. So, what you can tell us about it, Dave?
From what I was understood from yesterday, that the regulators, these footballers regulators, they want there to be less money given to those teams who get relegated, because they're saying it's not parachute payments, they're calling them trampoline payments, because they simply, you look at Norwich City get promoted, then get relegated, then get promoted, then get relegated, then get promoted, then get relegated, because they use the parachute payments to give them a better chance in the championship. That's what they use it for. That's what happened to other teams. They've had those parachute payments, and it gives them an unfair advantage. We were in the same position when we got relegated twice. We kept our TV money for a year. So they're talking about wanting to reduce or stop the parachute payments altogether. Now, the regulator it'll be up to the regulator who will decide that. But the Premier League are saying, who are the regulators to tell us how to run the Premier League? So the Premier League are saying we don't need regulators to run football. So the parachute payments is one thing, but they're also talking about a transfer cap. So you can't spend more than, say, a certain amount of money per year. It's going to be slightly different to the financial fair play. It'll be slightly different to how it's calculated. But
Dave, I got something. I didn't get it right. They said it's the money spent for AFL clubs and League One. It will be depend on their position in the standing table. That's the new thing. So what is the old thing?
Well, the Premier League, the AFL teams, they get a share of the TV revenue equally. Yeah.
Okay.
So now what they're going to say is that the teams who will finish in the higher positions will get more money than the teams who are in the lower positions.
Oh, so not equal share for the TV money.
No.
I see.
And that's.
But this is. I don't think the clubs will agree on that.
No, I don't think they will. I don't think they will at all, because I can't see.
And who will decide that? The regulator, the new regulator, or the Premier League?
It'll be. I think it's the Premier League. The regulator wants to stop that happening. The regulator, the Premier League, want to ensure that more of the money goes to those teams who actually do well or who are playing well. But I can't see how that's going to be fair on somebody like Derby County and Barnsley. They were in the Premier League a few years ago, and they've been relegated. They've been relegated to Division 1. Now, Derby County is one of the most famous teams in the UK. It's won the title. It's won the First Division title, or the Premiership title, as it became, on many occasions. But they've struggled because of mismanagement by Mel Morris, that owner. But they've been relegated this year, and they've had numerous points taken off them. Now, Derby would have, if they hadn't had those points taken off them, Derby would have been possibly in the playoff places. So, it's unfair on Derby that because they're finishing the bottom three, they're going to get less money than anybody else, because that position it's an unfair position. It's an unreal position, because if they'd had the normal points, they started on minus 21, I think. They started on minus 21 points. And they've obviously got those points back, and now they've got loads of points by they won a lot of games. Now, they would have been higher up. They would have been higher up the league, and they would have got more money had they not been deducted those points. So that's an unfair advantage. That's unfair on Derby, in my opinion. So if that rule comes in, then it will punish teams like that. I know if mismanagement of funds, you shouldn't be like falsely making their wealth better by giving them more parachute payments. But without those parachute payments, teams like Derby and Oldham and Portsmouth, and who were all Premiership teams years ago, have suffered greatly. Even Sunderland, Sunderland are in Division 1.
Dave, I think regarding the parachute payment, the issue about it now is because the new rule, the clubs who have no parachute payment, they will suffer most. So that's why they get more benefits. So I listened to Kieran Maguire, some of the podcast. They've been saying the yo-yo clubs. It's like the yo-yo. Like, for example, Norwich, go down, go back, go down, go up. Because the parachute payment, which not going to be benefits from other teams.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to find fair rule for everybody.
No, I agree with you. I think that there is, and I think that's where, you know, the equal payments have to, the equal payments have to remain. Each team should so if you're in the championship and you finish in the championship, wherever you finish, everybody should get the same amount, unless you're getting relegated into Division 1. So therefore, you would only get the same. They would only get the same money as those teams who in Division 1 get. And if you're in Division 1, if you get promoted, you should get the higher amount of money that the championship teams are going to get, because then at least it's fair. So the new teams getting promoted will have the same amount of money as the teams who are already in the championship, and vice versa. Those teams who get relegated will have the same amount of money as those teams in the lower leagues.
Yeah, I think this is a lot of things will happen regarding this, but this is update. طبعا ملخص هذا الكلام زي ما قلنا الحين، الأندية اللي تهبط في نظام الباراشوت يكون عندها مبالغ راح تحصل عليها من النقد التلفزيوني، تعطى على 3 سنوات للفريق الهابط. فعادة الفريق الهابط يستفيد من هذه المبالغ لأنها إكسترا، فيسهل عليه العودة إلى الممتاز لأنه عنده سيولة مادية عكس الأندية اللي في الشامبيونشيب. قيس على ذلك باقي الدرجات. الآن لا، الآن بعد النظام المستدام اللي تحدثنا فيه بالتفصيل في برنامج سعودي تون، هذا الشيء بالعكس، هذا الشيء راح يتعب كثير الأندية اللي اوريدي موجودة في الليج 1 والشامبيونشيب من زمان. ف بيصير في زي اليويو، يعني الأندية هذا النظام الجديد يساعد الأندية اللي بتهبط، بيساعدها كثير إنها راح ترجع الموسم التالي لأنها بيكون عندها مبالغ أغلى، خصوصا مع نظام المستدام الجديد اللي زي ما قلت شرحناه بالتفصيل.
And you got to remember, the parachute payments were originally given to the teams who got relegated because of the TV rights money.
Yeah.
And that's where they said, right, okay, any team who drops down a lower division, they're not going to earn as much money as they had been if they stayed in the Premiership. But to me, that's the chance you've got to take if you get relegated. That's the chance you've got to take. You get relegated, you're not going to have as much money from the TV. You know? Yet, when the year that we got relegated, last time we got relegated, we were on the TV more times than we were when we'd been in the Premiership. Yet we only got a pittance, very, very small amount of money compared to what we had when we were in the Premiership. Yet we were attracting bigger audience.
But Dave, help me to get this. For example, Norwich will be relegated. Yeah. So the money from TV, it's on the same year they got relegated, so they deserve it.
Yeah.
So they will get it.
TV rights, yeah.
But it's maybe for maybe okay. But maybe
it's given is because they're not going to earn as much in the Championship as what they would have earned in the Premiership. So they get that parachute payment to make sure the club can still survive and act like a Premiership team.
Yeah, so, because we can see any team will be relegated, they will start to sell players, and this is affect the teams. Understood. Okay, here Tom say, who you think the derby owner will be?
Who do you think derby
Ashley.
owner will be? I'm not bothered. Honestly, I'm not bothered. Not bothered. Okay. I'm not bothered. I think I feel sorry for the derby supporters and the players, but I don't. I'm not bothered. What happens at Derby? They're a very, very old English football team. One of the founder members, and it's it's hard to see them so bad. But the same thing goes for Oldham Athletic. Oldham Athletic were relegated out of the English football completely. Yet when Newcastle got promoted to the Premiership in 1993, Oldham were in the Premiership. Oldham is the first Premiership team to ever drop right out of the league. Very, very hard for them to take. They were also sponsored by Sports Direct 10 years ago. What does that tell you?
Here, Sarandel tell us that the women team was trained at Benton. That's why the media was about Dave.
So the media was there today because the women were trained. Wait, I couldn't understand why, because there was quite a lot of people there. So yeah, it's going to be good for the women to get onto St James's Park.
Okay, Dave. Now we want to talk a bit about Julianton. It's his 100 games in Newcastle, and he did a great job against Norwich. He was media talk, all over the media past few days. Keith Downey says here, been saying for weeks to anyone who would listen that Eric Julianton will be able to do a job up on the front needed. Now he's found his confidence, using his physique better. Still think he's better midfielder though. So what else here? We have Julianton. Also, there was a saying or a quote by Klopp back in 2019 that Julianton did a great job at that game, which being lost by Newcastle 3-1. And he said he is 100% made for Premier League. So I want to ask Dave, and also he speak today in I read an article in Chronicle that he said that he's happy with his back to his old position. I want to see Bruce back. So do you think Eddie Howe he didn't know who to play striker, as he put Julianton in the center forward, not Dwight Gale, as he talks before, maybe in the last few seconds. So in Julianton, and he already delivered his number 9 back to Wilson, and he got the 7. So where do you see Julianton next season? Which position?
If he's still at the football club, I think he'd be in midfield. But honestly, he's proved himself later on in the season that he's come good. He's come good because he's been played in a position that suits his style of football. And I think, his confidence has resurfaced, and he scored 2 good goals against Norwich. But that's the first goals he scored in a while. You know what I mean? He's not a centre forward. He scored 2 goals, but he's not a centre forward. He never will be. Not in the traditional sense of a centre forward. He's not going to be Callum Wilson. He's never going to be Alan Shearer. But he did a job on Saturday. Because Norwich were a poor team to start with. Norwich are a very poor team to start with. And I just think, they had to give Chris Wood a rest, because he looked absolutely shattered. He runs himself into the ground every home game that I've seen him, and I think he was shattered. And I think they give Joelinton that opportunity because they played Longstaff in midfield, so it give Joelinton that extra space they need up front. So he played well, but he played well against a bad and poor Norwich team. Let's not kid ourselves. If it was Liverpool, would he be playing up front? No.
Exactly.
He's and I think next season, he'll be in the midfield, but
not starting lineup.
But I don't think so. I don't think he'll be in the starting lineup. I think there'll be other players coming in that will bring in who will be there or thereabouts. I'm not saying that Joe Linton will be cast aside completely, but I certainly think there's other players, there's other top players we're interested in who are going to come and play alongside Bruno. I think Bruno he's shown himself of the class act that he is. He's absolutely fantastic. He's passing. I even think, but like John Joe Shelvey, I think Shelvey will also be a squad player. He'll be on the bench. Let's not forget next season, 5 substitutes. 5 substitutes. So you're going to need to have those players in your squad who know how your team play. So you're going to need players like Joe Linton. You're going to need players like John Joe Shelvey. They're going to be the players to
on the second line.
On the second line, yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's fair enough, Dave. Here we have, okay. We have to open the transfer window because a lot of news as we receive a lot of rumors and stuff. Do you think Eddie Howe, before we going to the names, do you think Eddie Howe will be, now Eddie Howe is a hero.
Yeah.
So, but next year, if we get sympathy for a lot of players. Okay, I love Almiron, I want him to stay. I love Joelinton, I want him to stay. I love Sean Staff, I want him to stay. This will not do any good for the club. As I read today in Lee Reader article, that there is a second part of the project now after not being relegated and stay in Premier League. Now Eddie Howe must collect or prepare for 25 names who will enter the pre-season or next season to start with, as we have now 32 registered player on the list. So that means there is 7 will be off the list, plus the players we are getting in the signing. Yeah. So do you think Eddie Howe will be, because people will blame Eddie Howe if we didn't get better next season, because we didn't want to be in 10th or 9th. We want at least to fight for European seat in any European league.
I certainly think Howe won't get blamed. Eddie Howe will not get blamed. He'll not be held responsible. But you're right. We've got 32 players in the squad, 25 in the playing squad. It's only expected that if you want your club to progress, then you've got to move certain players out and bring certain players in. That's how Man City bought a lot of players when they first were taken over, who were strong enough to get Man City a decent start, and then they started buying decent players. Following that, they started buying the Vincent companies and De Bruyne's later on. You've got to be prepared to move players out, but you've got to be sure that the players you bring in are going to be the quality players who are going to help you compete. You can't just bring in, or you can't just spend money willy-nilly. You have to be careful on how you spend the money. They have to fit in with the coach's style of play. So Eddie Howe will have a lot of input into the type of player that he wants. Not the exact player you get, but the type of player. He will help Dan Ashworth and people like that bring in the players who are going to make a football club stronger.
Speaking of Dan Ashworth, Tom asking anything regarding Dan Ashworth.
No, again, it's still a story in the background.
So do you think Newcastle will not pay the 5 million release clause?
I don't think so, and I think what'll happen is at the end of the season. I always thought it would go to the end of the season before we would get him. Yeah. Is that you? Lost in Brighton.
Yeah, it's I like to do this since I was a kid. I like this comic stuff. So this is saying here, like in Brighton, and in the middle of nowhere, Dan Ashworth says, "Thought you left already, Al-Walid." So I am saying, I came to bring you home, mate.
Other way around, mate. Don't bring you home. No, I look at. There's obviously something going on in the background that we haven't got any idea what it is. Brighton are obviously upset that Dan Ashworth is leaving, and they're making it as difficult as possible. But
because we take Dan Burn as well.
Yeah, you know, I think that's they're a bit peeved by that. But you've got to accept that, you know, Dan Ashworth probably knows more about Brighton's football team than a lot of people do. So they don't want to be sharing that information. Whereas next season, that information will be, you know, everybody will know about Brighton and know how Brighton play and how Graham Potter manages Brighton. So next season, I think Dan Ashworth will be allowed to move on. And it wouldn't surprise me, Al-Walid, that if he's not already involved with the choosing of the new players and who we should be going for and who we should be looking at.
You mean now?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's not got some input, but just not officially. Just
of course,
you know, just not officially.
Of course, and it's going to be like an exclusive line, and it's not like maybe just maybe the owners. Maybe this just
yeah. Of
course, we'll take his opinion. It's not makes sense if not. Or taking advice.
But the thing is, I mean, anyhow, we'll be talking to the owners. We'll be talking to all the other people involved with the scouting operations and and the type of player that he wants, and it'll be up to everybody else to be looking to bring those players in with or without any input from Dan Ashworth. But I still think Dan Ashworth will be putting a bit of information our way.
Dave, because I'm involved too many shows and many spaces, but I think this conversation between Saudi Newcastle fans and he said that Eddie Howe only choose by name only Chris Wood, and we see he's not that amazing signing. I know it was just temporarily, but does that mean they will leave Eddie Howe to choose the players upon his requests, do you think? Or do you think the club maybe will choose for him?
The club will choose for him.
Why?
Eddie Howe, because he's a coach. He's not a manager. He's not a manager. He's the coach. He's got to be able to get the best out of the players. Pep Guardiola is the coach. He says the type of player that he wants and who he's interested in. You know, he'll say who he's interested in, but he'll also tell his backroom staff of the type of player he wants to see and how they play in a certain position.
Yeah, but Dave, for me, if I'm Guardiola and I saw the opponent, someone I like, I want to have him in my squad. So I will say to the manager, the owners, I want that player because I know this will be fit in my team.
Yeah, if that's how they fit in their team. But, you know, that was the old way of choosing players. The new way is the director of football is the one who brings the players in. It'll be based on Eddie Howe's desire.
Is that to avoid maybe commissions, rumors, or to avoid personal relation, or why do you think?
A bit like that, a bit like personal relations. Beforehand, the fact is, one big example, Steve Bruce, when he was managing the lower division teams before Newcastle, he always signed, the first player he always signed was Alex Bruce. He always brought his son in to play for him, and that's, to me, that, that was so wrong.
That's too much.
It was so wrong, but that's what he was doing. He was doing that, and he did that on a number of occasions when he was manager. So yeah, there's going to be situations where managers have their favorite players, and they'll always bring those favorite players with them. Now, are those players the best player for the football team or the best player for the manager? Which is what's always been the problem with Newcastle United. We've had players being brought in who've always been the favourites of the manager, and that's now changing. We've got to move like the Chelseas and Man Cities and people like that. Yes, we can say, oh, we like Mbappe. We like Eddie Howe likes Mbappe. Are we going to get him? No. But can we get a player who plays in a similar position and has the similar style to Mbappe, who can work with Eddie? We a lot of people saying, why on earth did Bruno Guimaraes go to Newcastle United? People said, what? Because he could work. He knew he could work with Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe knew he could work with him. It fit in perfectly. And it's been proved right.
Yes.
It took a few games to get started. And Eddie Howe was right about what he said. He'll start when he's ready. He'll come in when he's ready. But at the minute, Joe Willock was doing very well. So yeah, I think there's going to be a few situations like that in the next season or two.
Speaking of Mbappe, it reminded me when I was in Newcastle and I was dressing with Thob and Shimab, and I was near St. James Park walking, and there is workers in the street. They look at me and they were like a group, and they said, so when I pass, hi, and when I passed, I said, we want Mbappe. They shout. Like they thought I am. I don't know who thought I was. It was funny. Okay, so that's a great talk, Dave, regarding. Now we'll go specifically to the names.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is important because we want to know. We know it's not going to happen for many reasons, many sources, but still people want to see Bakita. Because this is also personal relations. So how you want to make, and I'm asking the fans, how you want Bruno Guimaraes to bring his friends to the team. This will initiate, I think, some sort of I don't know how to describe it. We see teams like, for example, Manchester United with the Portuguese friends. They have some like in the groups, or the player being divided in. Because if this something can happen, I think they will kind of control Eddie Howe. What you say on that, and what's the latest on this topic?
I think Paqueta would be a good player to come to Newcastle, but we've had this conversation before where how many Brazilians are we going to have in the team?
Also today I mentioned Richarlison being mentioned.
Richarlison, yeah. I mentioned to you last week, Richarlison, he wants, they talk about bringing him in. If you've got 3 or 4 players who are from Brazil. What's going to happen? Yeah, World Cup qualifiers, the American competition, the competition they've got. You're going to have players who are going to be having to travel back from Brazil who are going to be absolutely shattered. They're going to miss games. So having one or two players is fine. 3 or 4, possibly too many.
Yeah, but Dave, bringing someone because he's a Bruno friends, this is
No,
not professional.
No, we've had situations like that before at Newcastle.
Where is that?
Years ago, we had we had Andy Cole and Lee Clark. They were very, very close friends, and
but they are from England,
yeah, but they were very, very close friends. They were really close friends, and I think Andy Cole got dropped or something. I can't remember exactly what the reason was, but Lee Clark refused to play because his best friend wasn't playing. And there was Kevin Keegan was absolutely apoplectic about it. You're going to have situations like that. You're going to have situations like John Terry and Frank Lampard. Where John Terry, was it Frank Lampard? Yes, it was John Terry, because they were good friends, ended up sleeping with his wife.
No, I didn't think that was Lampard.
I can't remember who it was.
No, it was. I remember but he wasn't Lampard. It was from another team.
Yeah, but they were England.
Barker or something, I think.
They were teammates at Chelsea and they were teammates for England. I'm sure it was Lampard. I'm sure it was Lampard.
No, it wasn't.
It's
John Terry and Barkley, I think, or Barker or Barkley.
No. Anyway, the fact was there was a conflict of interests because two friends fell out, became enemies. So Bruno bringing his best friend in, that's not to say he'll always be his best friend. They're falling out.
Yes, and imagine if another, for example, Eddie Howe not happy with one of them, and he bench the other one, and he will try to not make the substitution player make good. He will not pass to them. Yeah. It's so that's why it's very hard to. But I don't know. Some here, Jordi Wester says also Jesus. He been also linked. So gonna be Brazilian team in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And then Liverpool 0-0. Thank you, Tom. Actually, I have it on my screen here, and hope they still this way. Okay.
Hope they get lots of injuries. Lots of injuries they get tonight.
Okay, here's a funny talk. So I would like to say it in Twitter, but I don't want to. Sometimes you don't have the energy for criticism. So for me, why not? But I don't.
No.
Why? He's England. He's England goalkeeper. Dave.
No.
Is he because playing Sunderland? I think this will make best of Sunderland.
You know what? It's not the fact that he plays for Sunderland. He doesn't like Newcastle. He doesn't like Newcastle supporters. I do not want him anywhere near St James's Park. Don't want him anywhere near.
So why Danny Murphy suggesting him? Is he just want to
stir the pot? He's just stirring the pot.
With more attention.
He's just stirring it. He's just winding all Newcastle supporters up. No, we don't want old T-Rex arms not at St James's Park.
But I always when I saw him play, I focus on his arm. For me, it's normal. I didn't see any show. I don't know.
He can't reach.
Really, no. I think he's slow. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, he's
Not
slow.
about the short. Slower. Not slow.
Yeah.
Slower in reaching. That's it.
No, I think no, I don't want him, and I don't want Jordan Henderson or anybody like that anywhere near Newcastle. No way.
So yeah, right. So it's been mentioned here as people, he doesn't understand this situation. I mean, here in Saudi Arabia. All right, then. Okay, my target latest, Dave. I hear that he will sign for Newcastle.
Yeah,
definitely.
looks like that he wants to sign it, and Newcastle want to sign him. So
when the player is loaned and want to stay in Newcastle, this is affect the deal so much.
Yeah. Obviously, what Aston Villa will try and do now will try and get as much money out of us as possible.
Yeah.
They know that the player wants to come, and and Newcastle want him. And he obviously was surplus to requirements at Aston Villa. So
and they have Lucas D.
Oh yeah. who's injured.
Okay.
But no, the fact is, if he wants to come, yes, I can see Aston Villa playing hardball. It was rumored to be like £15 million. How much it's going to cost to get him to come? I think that'll probably go up 5-10 million to bring him in now.
20 million?
I would think so.
Okay, so 20. So they want to reach from 15 to 20, maybe.
Yeah,
they want more.
They'll want more money. That's what they'll do. They'll just put his price up.
And regarding Lodi, Lodi, the left back Brazilian in Atletico, been also linked to Newcastle with Juventus lately. But do you think this is just agent talks or plan B? What do you think? Agent talks.
Agent talk.
So if we didn't get a target, for example, who will be left back? We know that Aaron Hickey close. But, but is he going to be starting lineup? I mean,
no, I don't think he'd be in starting lineup. But you see, this is where we're going to have so many different things going forward now. Because we're going to be in the market for decent players next season. So everybody's agent will be talking, nobody wants to come to Newcastle.
To raise his wages up,
yeah. Do raise his
even
wages.
Even if the player didn't want to go to Newcastle.
Even if he doesn't want to go to Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like Pogba now, I'm sure his agent, his brother, link himself to Newcastle just to raise his wages and lift up his reputation after worse performance.
It happens all the time. Which is why Newcastle always get linked with every player going, and this is why it's all nice. But how many times can you link? You can link possibly about 100 players every transfer window to Newcastle. To me, I think if there's a chance, I would like to see Newcastle go for Luke Shaw from Man United, because they're going to get rid of a lot of players. Man United are going to get rid of a lot of players. Now, to me, Luke Shaw is,
if he's fit, he's the best.
Yeah, I would think Luke Shaw. He's a similar type of player. He plays with England alongside Trippier, and he's a Premiership player. He understands the game. He'll understand how Newcastle play. I think Luke Shaw could be a good choice at left back, and like I say, Man United are going to have a massive clear out because Erik Ten Hag is going to bring his own. He want to bring his own players in.
Yeah, he's now linked all the Dutchland players.
Yes, all the Ajax players are now coming across to Man United.
This is embarrassing, Dave. But when you say the Premiership, do you mean Premier League?
Yes.
Yeah, because I heard it today in Steve's show, and I was shy to ask really because I thought there is championship and the Premier League. So, all right.
But it used to be. But when the Premier League was first formed, it was called the Premiership. It was the Premiership for a long time, and then they changed it to the Premier League. Only about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But the Premiership, everybody still knows it as the Premiership. You know, the Premiership. So, but because it sounded too much like the Championship, so that's why they changed it to the Premier League.
Yeah, and this is funny. I have a video since I started maybe more than 2 years ago, and it was most of my shows are with my brother Mr. L in Arabic. So I start to put translation, and in the translation, I said championship, which I was meaning by then. It's the the league, the championship, as not the championship. The one, no, the championship, the trophy. يعني
right, yeah.
In Arabic, if we translate بطولة, a title.
Mm-hmm.
In Arabic, we said title, and if we translate it بطولة, title, translate it, we get championship.
Right.
So my brother asking me back then, okay, what's your message to Newcastle fans? That's when we started. So we said, be ready for championship. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. Yes, because that's what
funny.
You know, the Wimbledon, the tennis, Wimbledon tennis. It's called the Championship.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So it was funny.
Yeah.
So when I published the video, people say, no, I got that. But it was so funny. All this gold, all days, good days. All right, Dave. Here, Georgie Wester says, Carlos from Villarreal. I think Carlos from Ishbilia.
Yeah.
There is another Carlos. I'm not really sure.
No, Seville.
Yeah, Seville. Okay. Okay. Now we hear more, after Nunes rumors that it's, maybe he went to come Newcastle, and this is just exaggerating by the deal still on. But Hugo and Ekitike come again on board, and I think he's close as sources more than Nunes. Any update you have there?
No, again, these stories are just being put about by their own agents, to say that Ekitike and Nunes want to come to Newcastle, right? What are they trying to do? Are they just wanting to use Newcastle as a stepping stone to bigger teams in the Premiership or in the Premier League? Sorry, in the Premier League. Ekitike is a player that I'd like to see, and Nunes, again, the players I would like to see, and I think the agents realise that, which is why they try and sell them to the Newcastle supporters by saying, Ekitike wants to come to Newcastle, Botman wants to come to Newcastle, Carlos wants to come to Newcastle. So the Newcastle fans get all their hopes raised up, yet there's never an intention for these guys to ever come other than to talk themselves up. So let's just wait and see. Ekitike, I think, is probably going to be a definite, and possibly Botman.
For Ekitike, I think Saint Maximin will play a good role, as we saw all in the sky yesterday. He was saying that Newcastle is all the players in the world want to come to Newcastle, and he's giving a good word about the atmosphere, etc. So I believe, and to be honest, this will attract someone young like Ekitike.
Yeah, you're right, and I think that's how it worked with, Bruno. Bruno was like, he'd heard the rumors about Newcastle wanting him, and once he knew that Newcastle and the fans wanted him, That's all he wanted to do, and that's why he came to Newcastle, because he came there and he knew he could work with Eddie Howe, and the type of football would suit his type of and with what Joe Linton was selling them, so Bruno had no second thoughts. My only concern, with players like Botman, because Eric Ten Hag now going to Man United, what's the chance that he'll end up going to Man United rather than coming? Because Man United, Harry Maguire can kiss himself bye-bye. Harry Maguire won't play under Ten Hag. It'll be new players completely under his control. And it wouldn't surprise me, Botman being a decent Dutch international, that he's going to go to. If he doesn't come to Newcastle, he'll go to Man United.
So we heard that here in Saudi that Nune is linked to Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yeah.
So do you?
Whoop, lost you. I'll just carry on talking about how Walid comes back on. Here he comes.
Sorry, press wrong button.
No, I think.
So do you think we're gonna get both of them, or this is very hard?
I think it'll be very hard to get both of them. I think, like I said,
who closer?
Atike.
Okay.
Yeah, I think obviously players like Darwin Núñez are using us to get the move to Arsenal or Liverpool, because what they'll see is what he hopes is that Liverpool or Arsenal will see Newcastle making a move for him, and then they'll make their move. That's what he's hoping. Whereas Atike is up and coming, he's a youngster. He was close to signing last in January, but changed his mind at the last moment because he didn't understand how Newcastle. I don't think he wanted to get involved with a relegation fight.
Dave, I can't see Nunez go to Arsenal because Lacazette will leave, and Aubameyang, I think he left already, and I think not for long, for permanent. So they need a striker. So I can see, but Liverpool, they have a lot of players, yani.
Yeah, they do. But
why do you think? Why I am Nunez? Why I go to Liverpool? And there is Jota, there is Firmino.
Yeah, why? Firmino he's more on the bench these days than anywhere else.
But Origi will leave. So Origi's there is Firmino, there is Firmino, there is Diaz, Salah, Mane, Jota. That's enough.
Yeah, no. Teams like that, because of the 5 substitution rule next year, that's why you'll get more players wanting to go there, because they'll have more chance of at least getting parts of games. Lots of swapping around of starting lineups.
Yeah, it's like I can put 5 at the second half to change the game.
Yeah,
5 top player full energy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see. This is gonna be a big fight in the summer. So now let's end up now with the last topic is Liverpool game. As now it's minute 49. It's 0-0. I think it's in Anfield, which is good. Is it? In Anfield, I think.
It's Anfield, yeah.
Yeah. So where from start? Okay, let's start from this idiot. Why he's with us in the Liverpool games, and what's the reason, especially what he did in first leg?
To me, he shouldn't be anywhere near this game. He's from Merseyside. He's from Liverpool.
So why? How this is acceptable in Premier League?
Exactly, it shouldn't be acceptable, Al-Walid. But what they say about him is that he doesn't support Liverpool. He doesn't support Everton. He's a Tranmere supporter. But the fact is, he's from Liverpool. It's not allowed. It should not be allowed.
We'll come, lads, to
it's wrong.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this is making me really sad. So Quickly, Dave.
Tell you what, though, it might work in our favour because with him being a Tranmere supporter, with him being Tranmere don't like Liverpool. So who knows? You know, he might decide to give a few penalties for us.
But I beg to I doubt it. I doubt to differ. What is it here? Okay, so this is the lineup of Liverpool now, and they should be, this is the top squad. So that's for sure. Gota will play against us, so he's saving his energy for us. So tomorrow, of course, we will gonna talk. Let me play this clip. we'll talk إن شاء الله طبعا بكرة بإذن الله 12:30 منتصف الليل معنا الكوتش عبد الخالق للحديث بالتفصيل عن ليفربول وكيف هزيمة ليفربول. So Dave, do you think Eddie Howe, as I hear that Bournemouth, he did great some games against the club. Do you think Eddie can do it for us with the players?
If Liverpool come with us with that team that you've put up there, I think we'll find it very hard. Honestly, I do. I think we'll play well, but what could be in our favour is that tonight Liverpool get a 0-0 draw, or they get beat 1-0.
Oh yeah, I wish.
The thing is, they then have to come to us on Saturday, Sunday, I can't remember what day it was, and then next week they've got the second leg. Do they want players coming to play against Newcastle who might get injured? And they've got a chance to get to the Champions League final. And guarantee you there'll be a few of those players do not want to come to Newcastle, who will not want to put a challenge in. Yeah, yes, they're going for the title. They want to win the Premier League title. But I think they see the Champions League being more important. I think that's where it'll work in our favour if they don't get a big result tonight. If they don't get a big result tonight with Villarreal, that might work in our favour. That might work in our favour.
You're absolutely right. But Dave, that's make me wonder, and you know better, I don't think we have that. Maybe I see that in Joelinton somehow, but I don't think there is, I'm not saying we don't have a player who's physically strong in the clashes, in interfering or intact. We don't have that strong a player who can really make damage. Get me? Someone like Arturo Vidal, in my mind. Someone like actually I'm out of names now, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, but it depends on where you want to cause the damage. Where do you want to cause the damage? The damage you want to create.
No, not the damage. I want someone in contact, physically in contact, very strong.
Yeah, I think Dan.
Because as I see, we have a lot of players get injured, not making other players injured.
Yeah, I think Dan Burn is a player who could cause some damage. You've got John Joe Shelby, ex-Liverpool player, ex-Liverpool. He's known for a very strong challenge. And then you've got big Chris Wood up front, who's not frightened to break a few skulls. So that's
good defense there.
You're
probably right.
There is players in certain positions who I think will be able to upset the apple cart. And I certainly think, honestly, Wollied, I cannot see Mo Salah wanting to go in with a challenge on some of these players, like Target, like Dan Burn. If there's a chance, he might he might get an injury and miss the Champions League final. You know.
Liverpool scored.
Yeah.
Liverpool scored on goal. Villarreal scored on this on goal for Liverpool.
Yeah, but that's still 1-0. That's Man City beat Real Madrid last night 4-3. It's only one goal. Real Madrid, I can see Real Madrid scoring 2 goals at the Bernabeu, at Santiago Bernabeu. They'll score 2 goals.
Oh my dear Lord! Second goal came. Manny.
It's your fault.
Why?
You've jinxed it. You've jinxed. If Liverpool, so then okay.
So it's finished now. I think they are qualified.
You think?
Yeah. Villarreal team, they are collapsing now.
Yeah, 2-0. You've got another leg to go.
Yeah, it's same Everton. Yani it's like Liverpool, same. Yani they play. You think for a second they are be lost or get draw, but I don't know what happened. They become more aggressive in last 30 minutes.
Yeah, because they didn't want they didn't want to have to play a tough game in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So they can finish the game at Anfield. But the same went from
let's hope Villarreal at least score 1 goal. Let's hope.
Well, let's hope Villarreal, if they don't score 1 goal, let's certainly hope they break a few ankles and break a few knees.
All right. Okay, let's go to question. Makhul says, okay, I have to ask this, but I don't think it's important now. Training center will be built soon, Dave?
Not yet.
لسه مكحول لسه ما بنوه بس انه يعني قريبا ان شاء الله.
They're still looking at different sites. No news yet on the training ground.
What do you think about Lingard? Has he been linked? And according to Amanda, he want to come to Newcastle in January.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
No, he came on for my night the other day. Didn't play very well at all. So no, we move on. He was a player who could have done a job for us in the relegation battle. But
he tried. He tried. The club refused. Well, he wanted to.
But what will happen now is we'll now look for better players.
Yes, exactly. Look at King Eddie has done current squad, only need a few strong additions to the team to get steady growth, not expecting miracles next season. Why expect miracles, Jordi? Why not?
No, I think
Origi, he went to Milan, I think. He will be in Milan.
Yeah, Milan. I think so as well. Yeah, I don't think if we tried to get Origi a couple of years ago. I think we tried to get him. We tried to sign him a couple of years ago. We should have gone for him then. We should have tried harder. But Mike Ashley wouldn't pay the money, so So yeah. Sorry.
No. Let's think. Matty scored today. I think for yesterday. I'm not really sure. His 5th goal for Mansfield Town, and I think his team will be maybe promoted soon if they continue winning. So, what do you think? Matty will continue with us next season with his brother?
No, I think Matty will sign a new contract, but I think he'll stay out on loan.
That's Matty.
Yeah.
What about Sean? Sean.
Bye.
Bye.
Because he's not going to sign his contract. He's not going to sign his new contract. So
why?
I think he'll go. Because he knows there's other players going to be coming in his position. So,
but Dave, this is it's been said in the media he's going to be offered a new contract, or this is just talks.
just talks because he'll not sign it. I think he'll go elsewhere. He'll go elsewhere, but I think Matty will sign a new contract, possibly 1 year or 2 years, and then he'll be he'll go out on loan again. He'll play out on loan, whether it's with Mansfield or whether it's with somebody else. I think he'll go out.
Do you think this is just to for safety we do this, or because they are local boys, or?
No, I think it's a bit of both, really, because they are local boys. We want local players, but how many local players play for Man City? How many local players play for Chelsea? How many local players play for Man United? We can't always be looking to play local players. Yes, we've had some of the greatest local players ever. Your Beardsleys, Waddles, Shearers, Shola Amiobi. Sorry.
No, that's a great tune.
Yeah,
that's a great music.
That's yeah.
Fun. Okay, Dave. For me, I wish at least they have a game goodbye, or maybe last chance to really shown us what they have for fair, to be fair and square. Thank you, Dave, for joining us today. And طبعا على الساعة إن شاء الله 2 تقريبا اليوم مع مستر ال إن شاء الله. طبعا حلقة باللغة العربية. Tonight, after maybe 2 hours, we'll meet with Mr. L, my brother, to talk in Arabic show about Newcastle. Tomorrow, as we said, we have Coach عبد الخالق. بكرة إن شاء الله الكوتش عبد الخالق يوم الخميس. And for Friday, we have Adam Pearson with us on board. راح يكون معنا أشهر مشجع في نيوكاسل Adam Pearson إن شاء الله يوم الجمعة. And Saturday, we have also a celebration show. Hopefully, يا رب, hopefully after beating Klopp and his mates on Saturday, and it's going to be a hell of celebration. Thank you all for listening, enjoy and tune in for your great question. Have a great weekend soon.
Keep it hard.